So you made it off the ship, tasted the dust, and claimed your first spice, but survival on Arrakis is just the beginning. This isn't a game of chance, it's a war of knowledge, timing, and ruthless decisions. Most people are still figuring out the basics, but you're not most players. In this video, I'm going to be giving you advanced tips to dominate the dunes, outsmart your rivals, and carve your place in the world of Dune Awakening. Just keep in mind, if you want to continue to dominate Arrakis, make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you continue to get advanced tips. And with that, let's dive right on in. So starting this thing off strong, let's start with an advanced tip that I think players would really enjoy for transferring items. A lot of players don't know this one, and admittedly it took me like 2 days to figure this out myself. I have a ship inside of this base here. So as long as it's within the base, you come over here to the storage container and we have a spice dust container. And you see where it says this backpack at the top left, you can drop it down and then you can select a different location of where you're pulling from. So for example, my scout helicopter has all the spice in because I was at the deep desert. So now we can just deposit it directly. Oh, this one's full. You can, I guess we'll do it for this one too. Scout helicopter, that thing is heavy. But just like that, we were able to deposit the spice in from any other building, and we can, and I'll show you. Sorry, let me go back. You can do this from literally anything that you have authorized access to. It doesn't necessarily even need to be your personal thing. So if you're in a clan, that's my helicopter. There's a buggy here that we're using, another buggy that I made or have access to. Let's talk about the Planetologist. While this is not necessarily going to be the most advanced tips, this is actually one of the most important subclasses to unlock in all of Dune Awakening. The Planetologist is not a class designed around combat, but a class designed around giving you tons of utility that you're going to need throughout the entirety of the game. Dune Awakening as a game is a war of efficiency and preservation, and having the Planetologist unlocked to give you efficiency is going to be very key. Looking at his mechanic side, he has the ability to repair vehicles, reducing the durability loss, which is actually pretty big for some of your more expensive vehicles like your Ornithopter. Vehicle mining, this is going to give you way more yield. Sandcrawler yield, this is going to be integral for spice, which is going to be the main resource. Fuel efficiency, to save you on fuel as you make those very long trips, which you will be making a ton of. And even as a pilot, you get the same things. And you need to come to the Chinara's camp here, located in the Haga Basin. Just a quick zoom in just so you guys can see it, and he's going to send you on a quest to come over here to the Imperial Testing Station number 2. Now within this station there are going to be a mountain of different things you want to pick up depending on what point you are in the game. If you've done this early on or you're doing this late, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you exactly where you need to go. Within this facility, you're going to do a pretty in-depth run, and what you're looking for is to make sure you're always picking up every form of resource. Of course, that's super important, but you're going to eventually get to a point where you reach a hidden bookcase that will have a light here. Once you go inside this bookcase, there will be what you need, which is going to be a manifest or some type of document that you need to give to the Planetologist to unlock the class. You may get attacked by a handful of enemies, but for the most part, this is what you're here for. You really want to pick up this item, make your way back to the camp, and unlock the class. Once again, this is probably one of the most important classes to get early. If you do nothing else, make sure you get this at the very least. For my next tip, let's talk about how to build a copter as well as a buggy early on and mitigate a massive portion of the cost by simply farming locations that will drop these key resources. For clarity, I'm not telling you you have to do completely all of this to be able to build a buggy or on a copter, but these are going to be good ways for you to essentially mitigate a big portion of the cost while you're farming and scavenging. Alright, so first things first, coming to the Jabal region, you're going to be coming to Kaidora's Shadow because this is going to be a great location to do two really important things, and we're going to be talking about getting you a buggy first. So the first intel location is going to be located here near the double door, and this is going to be where you get your chest to pretty much get some of the free resources that you need for your first initial buggy. So as you can see here, I just picked up the band and we're going to make our way into this location. That band was actually really hard for me to find, but as you come through here, you will notice this chest. Within this chest, as you can see, we have Buggy Treads MK3, and I didn't even know that this would be in here. But as you can see, this is already one of the pieces to the buggy that you need to really start farming some of the more efficient items. And in this chest, if you do this with multiple friends or multiple people in your clan, you'll find buggy treads and multiple buggy pieces like PSUs and things like that located very much in here that can cut out massive amounts of your initial costs for your buggy. Now making your way up here to this location, this is going to be where the other intel as well as another chest that has buggy parts, or at least the very much the possibility of buggy parts. So once again, we're going to make our way up here. There's a lot of enemies here, so just keep that in mind. You got to fight your way through. But up here is going to be the location where the other band is located, so keep that in mind. And if you want to kill this NPC here, for example, He's a little bit tanky, but he actually drops decent loot as well. This could be a nice little option for you if you are looking to, you know, have something pretty decent. So I'm gonna kill him quickly. Oh, we're stuck in stasis. And just to check his loot, so you can see what it looks like. He has some carbon ore, artisan sword. It's okay, you know. Sometimes it can be like armor and gear pieces that you could use, things like that. But once you grab the band, you're gonna make your way into this house here. And within this house, there's going to be the classic shield wall. And once again, in this one, you can possibly find some other stuff. So we're going to interact with it and see if it has it. Unfortunately, this time we didn't have anything, but there are some decent loot in here. This is going to be one of your major locations, one of your other major locations, once again, if you're doing with a clan. Now, before we make our way to the other location, located here within the same facility, there'll be a spawn for a buggy. Unfortunately, someone recently picked this one up, for example, and used it. Well, I think they just grabbed it and they didn't take it with them. But if you are looking to maybe get a buggy and you don't want to necessarily overinvest into one, you could, in theory, take the back off, build one of the pieces and put the cut array on here, and then use it. It's not going to be like very good, as you can see. Well, actually I can't see it because someone else's is really beat up, but it is a buggy option, especially if you're a solo player and you don't have a ton of opportunity, you only can afford to get the cut array. You can come here and just pick it up and get it for free. It'll last you maybe like 2 or 3 good runs before it breaks, which should be enough to pretty much propel you for a buggy. But let's go to another location for more parts to farm, by the way. So not too far from where we were just at, we're going to make our way up here to the Imperial Testing Station 76, because there's going to be a lot here. Now keep in mind, this place is going to be packed full of enemies, but as you can see here, there's going to be a loot room that has the ability to drop buggy parts as well as many others through this facility. So I'm going to fast forward through most of this and go to the different loot locations so you guys have a better idea of what kind of loot you can get for your first initial buggy. So coming into this room here, for example, there's going to be an elite that you're going to need to face off against. And this elite is going to drop some pretty decent loot. So we're going to kill these enemies. Obviously, I'm a little bit stronger than the average person, so I'm going to, you know, kill them a little bit easier. And so this guy here that you see here has a really strong possibility of dropping really good stuff. So we're just going to drill shot him. He's running. No bandages for you. Let's kill the pleb. And there you can see, while he didn't necessarily give anything, he dropped some okay stuff, so suspensor belts and particles. But sometimes this guy can drop some stuff. Let's go to the other characters, because there's a few other drops in this area, so let's go to those. So once again, in this room here to the left, there's another tread here, once again cutting off a massive portion of the cost that you need to be able to get it. So we are already at 2 treads of, you know, what we need for the pieces. And keep in mind, if this is another person, someone has the other possibility of getting this item, and you guys can easily combine this. We're still on our first run. This is another room that tends to have good parts. That is our cut array that we would need to put it together there. So coming in here is going to be a hidden door, and once again behind this hidden door there's the possibility of getting an item that has some of the buggy parts. So let's go ahead and open this bad boy up and see if we got any. No, we didn't get any here, unfortunately. So another container here, not necessarily the best container in the world. I have so many of these. Suspensor belts, you can bring that back to your guild if that's something. I don't really need those anymore. But let's continue on, because there's still one more big loot room that could have the item that you want. And then on your way out, we're going to make our way up here to the top and open this bad boy up and see what's here as well. And unfortunately, we did not get another part. Next, let's talk about getting honor copter pieces. And this is going to be for both scout as well as assault. looking on the map here, there's a place called the Beast Claw. This gives you a pretty sizable amount of intel. I think it's like 30, and it drops some of the better resources in the entire game. The caveat to this location is obviously it's really high up on this hill, so if you don't have a flyer, or you had to climb like I did, which I climbed and I built a base right here where I store all my goods in, by the way. This is a PvP focused zone is the other caveat, and going in here means that players could go in here and kill you, and it's a pretty tough high level zone, so things deal a lot of damage to you. Now what I tend to do when I come into this location, I just want to show you my inventory. I don't have any helicopter pieces or anything, just me just running in. I always come in here and always have my shield on. Usually I come in here naked because I have that base over there you saw a second ago set it as my spawn location, and my helicopter is my second spawn location, which I bring to my base. So I always have something for my base because I have a vehicle spawn, which that's what you can do if you really want to be efficient. But you can come into this location. For example, there's a box here. Oh, someone's in here actually. So when I initially came in here, the boxes were actually taken because this is a PvP zone. So just keep that in mind when you come in here, that this is PvP and people could in theory take it, and in PvP it's like a one-time like use kind of thing. But nonetheless, we're back in here. It respawns like every like 15 minutes or something. So in theory, you can come in here with like, let's say you're like doing something at home, you work from home, have this game pulled up on another monitor. For example, there we just got an assault ornithopter thruster, which again is going to cut off a massive portion of the cost, very similar to the Buggy. And then coming into this one, we're going to take all that, and we got a sandbike engine in K5. Unfortunately, that kind of sucked. But we also get a lot of power cords and things of the sort like that. So that's pretty valuable and still useful, even though, you know, it's not necessarily ideal in what we want to get. So pulling into this location here, as you can probably tell, this is another location that looks very similar. And this is, and I'll show you an example where this is. This is the Shoel zone. This is where all the radiation is, and you need a radiation suit. Keep in mind those locations can drop rad suits like I have here. So this could be another like little great option for you. We're gonna park here and we're gonna go inside. You'll notice that the layout is very similar. Actually, we can't go in with it because we have our spice in there. We collected some spice a second ago. And as you can probably tell, this is in a PvP zone, so it's going to have very similar resources, but also it's going to have a very similar layout. So just like that, we have all those power regulators. It's going to be a big treasure chest there that you need to grab. Going to be enemies here as well. Put our shield up, grab the band, grab this loot. So we actually got a mercenary heavy chest piece, which is kind of cool. I don't think I've ever got one of those, which is again going to give you higher tier defensive armor. Unfortunately, we got another Buggy tread, but this actually has the ability to drop the assault as well as the scout ornithopter location stuff. So it's still pretty decent what we got there, because the better Buggies are going to be faster. They're going to, you know, be more efficient and cool, like on cooling and all those things like that. So you still want to get that stuff, but these are going to be two locations where you can get your assault ornithopter as well as just the scout one, and just have, you know, the resources be cut out. And of course, I just got a really awesome chest piece, mercenary heavy chest. This is an expensive build, and once again, you can use this as well as some of the weapons, because we got like adept drill shots, and these are like high tier weapons and gear and stuff like that you can easily get and just save out on resources. So next, let's talk about how to fly your copter in a more efficient method. Keep in mind, once you get to the deep desert, it is a mountain of space, and the last thing you want to do is utilize your copter in a way that's inefficient. So I'm going to be showing some gameplay footage and not do it live because it's easier that way to talk about it. But whenever you're flying your copter, what you generally want to do is go as high as humanly possible. What I like to do is I like to get to about 800 meters. This is when fuel efficiency start to become very heavy, and you notice your fuel start to drop and your heat will build up rapidly. Now, don't worry, you're not going to be using that much fuel, because at the end of the day, you're going to turn your engine off. You're going to go forward, of course, because you want your momentum. You're going to turn your engines off, and you're generally just going to glide all the way to the location that you want to get to. Now, what you can do in some of the locations that have maybe not such a straight line, like the deep desert does, for example, you can kind of do like an up and down motion to keep your momentum going up and down. But generally speaking, whenever I'm going from place to place, more times than not, at least in Hogga Basin, typically I only turn my engine on to fly up. I turn my engine off, and then I may turn my engine on to readjust if there's rocks, or I'll turn my engine on whenever I'm trying to adjust to land in wherever I'm trying to land into. But generally speaking, you can easily hit 4,000 meters plus from just turning your engine on once, going high, and then just doing a glide-like state. you're going to try to maintain about 160 plus meters per second when you're moving at this pace. And if you're able to do this correctly, which is going to require you to be slightly angled down, but you want to not be like in a nosedive. Essentially, you want to angle enough that you maintain the speed, you're consistently falling in style, but you're not necessarily losing a ton of altitude. And that's going to take a little time to kind of figure out that sweet spot, but that's how you naturally will go your vulture state. And it's going to be fuel efficient, and it's going to save your wings, it's going to save your engine. It's just going to make it so that whenever you get to the deep desert where you need to be efficient on moving around, because it is massive, this is going to help you out a lot. All right, for my last and final tip, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the Coriolis storm, and just talk to you guys a little bit about the last video where I made the base video. So in my last video, we did a video where I talked about the different bases, and I got a lot of comments that I'm not really a big fan of, where players said I was lying to my audience and I was giving guys bad information on how the spawn system worked and how Coriolis worked. And I mean a lot, to the point where people were disliking and disrespecting my channel, which I almost never show any disrespect to anyone. Always try to be fair and nice to people. But as you can see here, this is day after. I'm gonna pull up my menu so you can see. This is like right after the Coriolis storm. This is 10:30 a.m. I'm probably gonna release this video in like an hour and a half when I put things up. And as the video showed yesterday, and I'll have like a side-by-side, I still have the same plants that exist here, and they still continue to spawn here. Now coming over to the other base I showed you guys yesterday, as you can see here, it's still the same day of the same video. For those who are a little unsure, aluminium, we still have the basalt, a little bit more basalt, copper, plenty of the resources that we showed. I'm gonna go quickly over to this mountain just to show you guys, and I'm gonna probably show one more location before we get to the point, just so I can reinforce this for my previous video. And of course, I'm going to be showing side by side of the things I showed you. So as you can see here, there's still basalt, there's aluminium, granite, all the different things, copper. So, still stuff here that we showed in the previous video. Once again, coming over to this base location, as you can see, someone actually took the spawn. I don't know if they watched the video or they just came here and saw that it had value. But you can see here, coming up here, aluminium, iron, I keep saying iron, copper, obsidian, or whatever the hell that's called, carbon, I think. I play a lot of Ark Survival Evolved. And as you can see here, all the resources that we talked about, roughly about the same, and then obviously someone built here. Now, for the people who didn't engage with that last video, the whole purpose of that video was to show off some of the key locations where you can build a base to take advantage of a lot of the different resources. Now, the comments I got a lot of was, once the Coriolis storm comes in, this is going to wipe all the resources, and the bases that I'm showing inherently are bad because they're going to have different resources. But what the storm actually does is it resets the spawns in that individual location. It doesn't actually remove them from the loot table. So just give you an example, if you were to like build in Hagen Basin, for example, you wouldn't have aluminium spawn there because the players wouldn't be able to actually use it to progress the game. Yes, the quantity of nodes and the density of nodes will change. You may see more aluminium, you may see more copper, but the spawn logic of those items will still persist. The region where I told you guys where the earthite crystal is, it still will have earthite crystal there, but the density may change, and that's kind of the major thing. There may be more scarcity, there may be more plentifulness of it, and that's how the Coriolis storm worked. So again, when people said that I was lying to my audience, and to be quite frank, disrespecting me as a person and as a creator, I don't really like that, because I actually gave you correct information and I gave you really good places you can build. Are there objective better places? Of course, I'm sure you can find value in some other places at different times, but in general regions where you're kind of sitting now, there will always be those resources there, and you can always just go from your forward operating base to those locations to get those resources. And that was the whole purpose of that video. I'm gonna level with you guys, not like talking to you from a creative perspective. I don't make YouTube content because of money. I make YouTube content because I want to help you guys out, and I really like doing this. My last job paid, my normal 9-to-5 pay about 5 times what I make on YouTube. YouTube doesn't pay as much as some of you like to think. Don't let Mr. Beast and Logan Paul and those guys fool you in what the reality is. Just like most of you's 9-to-5 jobs the people who make the money are the people at the top, and that's no different from YouTube. So like when some of you come in my chat and tell me, hey Forever, you're doing it for the money, brother, I am not doing it for the money. I don't make that much money here. I'm at a massive loss making content on YouTube, and I don't disrespect anyone. I'm just trying to make a living, so don't do it to me, guys. Yeah, I banned those people, but I just don't tolerate that anymore, so just keep that in mind. Anyway guys, that's gonna be it for this one. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Let me know down in the comments which one of these tips helped you out the most. If there's any other advanced tips you'd like to give to any of the players, something I may have missed, some things that you think could actually benefit players heavily, feel free to leave it down in the comments. If I see something or a combination of things, I'll make a secondary follow-up video so we can help some players out. But yeah, this is basically all the things I wish I knew at the start of Dune Awakening. These things are going to help you out immensely on your journey. I know a lot of you are jumping in. With that said, I'm going to be covering this game as well as a lot of the upcoming survival games that a lot of you are probably going to be interested in. We have a lot of stuff happening in Dune Awakening and some other upcoming survival games, so I think a lot of you are going to enjoy it. Thank you so much guys for checking out the channel, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.